Continuing from the previous episode 1540. Who was that guy just now? As the man in black robe left, Luo Menglin said in disbelief. Obviously, the strength of the man in black robe just now was far from being tyrannical for the two of them. To lure away the Ice Demon Swordsman like this, surely something will happen, and now with the Ice Demon Swordsman leaving, the treasures below are within easy reach, which made Luo Menglin hesitate for a while. I don't know, it should also be a disciple of our spiritual academy. Come in and practice. Xiao Gui laughed inwardly, but he would definitely not tell the truth, and immediately wanted to see what Luo Menglin would choose in front of the treasure and his eldest brother. No, that guy's strength is too weak. If he leads the Ice Demon Swordsman away like this, there may be an accident, and if he can enter Lingshan, he must be a disciple of our Ling Yuan. Let's go out and save him. Luo Menglin hearing this, she was in a hurry. Daimyo didn't look at the treasure below, she looked directly at the place where the two Ice Demon Swordsmen left, and walked around, trying to chase away. Don't worry, the black-robed man just now had an extremely tyrannical flame fluctuation. In my opinion, it should be the power of the heavenly seed, so we don't have to worry about it. After all, even if you can't defeat the Ice Demon Swordsman, you can still escape safely. Xiao Gui looked at Luo Menglin's actions, and was immediately moved. It seemed that he really did not see the wrong person. How do you know? That's the middle stage of the 3-star fight against the 4-star fight. No. Let's go, big man. As soon as the voice fell, a grudge surged from his body, his speed skyrocketed, and he hurriedly headed outside. The fastest update of Chi novel, just trust me. Let's go and see the mysterious treasure below. Xiao Gui said. It was strange to say that on the left arm of Xiao Gui that was hit by the glacier sword Qi, a rather small mark appeared, and this mark was filled with the frightening cold energy, but at this time it was covered by the ghost Qi on Xiao Gui's body. There is no change at once, but if the extreme cold air breaks out, it will also become a scourge in the future. Luo Menglin nodded slowly when she heard Xiao Gui's stalemate. After a while, the two embraced each other and walked towards the bottom of the frozen lake. At the same time, Xiao Yan was also in full swing with the Ice Demon Swordsman. Leaving here means leaving your territory and coming to this open space. I'll see how you fight against me. In the dark passage that had entered the frozen lake, Xiao Yan's figure and the Ice Demon Swordsman you were chasing me one after the other, and Xiao Yan deliberately slowed down to prevent the Ice Demon Swordsman from getting lost. With Xiao Yan's soul power, he could easily detect the treasure hidden under the ice layer of the lake. Although he didn't know the specific appearance of the thing, he vaguely felt that it seemed to be only for the ice-type powerhouse. It is useful, but it is probably of no use to the powerhouses of other attributes. In addition to the reason of Xiao Gui, this is the scene where Xiao Yan directly leads the Ice Demon Swordsman out. Boom! With every step of the Ice Demon Swordsman's body, ice strands suddenly appeared overwhelming. Zoo! With a sound, Xiao Yan and the Ice Demon Swordsman left the dark passage at the same time, and came to a dark passage. Coming out of the secret passage, it turned out to be a rather vast open space, and there were no traces of any other spirit beasts in this area, so it was obvious that this was also the domain of the Ice Demon Swordsman. It's here. This is your resting place. In an instant, Xiao Yan looked around with satisfaction, and then smiled at the corner of his mouth. Death. Seeing Xiao Yan no longer running, the ice sword in the hands of the Ice Demon Swordsman clenched tightly, and a trace of extremely dazzling ice power suddenly emerged. Crimson Flame. Seeing this, Xiao Yan disapproved and sneered. The fiery red great celestial seed Crimson Flame all over his body and the power of the middle stage of the 3 stars fighting immortals showed no doubt. Ho! Looking at the fiery red flame power on Xiao Yan's body, the Ice Demon Swordsman couldn't help but let out a roar. Xiao Yan slashed away. Crash! As soon as the ice sword and the fiery red flame touched, the great heavenly seed on Xiao Yan's body suddenly trembled, as if it would go out at any time. Above this guy's ice sword, there seems to be an ice-type little heavenly seed. Adding the power of the 4-star fighting immortal early stage, it is really tricky. Xiao Yan took a step back, and the Yu Woheng ancient ruler was put away, and his heart immediately emerged. There was a burst of enthusiasm. Obviously, with his own strength, it would be extremely difficult to kill this guy. Although it was not difficult to escape, Xiao Yan still wanted to kill this guy to absorb his strength and use it to break through. Naturally, he would not escape easily. If that's the case, then try that thing. Just to use you as a trial stone. Xiao Yan laughed while avoiding the Ice Demon Swordsman's attack, but Xiao Yan found that although the Ice Demon Swordsman was not very intelligent, every time he swung the ice sword, all of them will cause shocking energy ripples. If one is not careful, I'm afraid that I will suffer a lot. Swallow. Swallowing the flame technique. Xiao Yan mobilized all of his strength and released a tyrannical blow to temporarily knock the Ice Demon Swordsman back. Suddenly, an extremely mysterious force within his body slowly passed through the Do core, and then slammed into the bones in his body. Squirm in. That power was like searching for food, constantly passing through Xiao Yan's body, and after some fruitless attempts, it was finally condensed in Xiao Yan's chest. Zheng Xin Lu Mao Chi Chi Novel Wang. WWI saw that the power cultivated by the swallowing flame technique scrolls, once exerted, slowly condensed on Xiao Yan's chest, forming a red cauldron. Light appeared on the red cauldron, and even countless flame patterns were outlined on the body of the cauldron. On the top, a trace of ancient fluctuations emerged, and the entire red cauldron was about the size of a palm, but it was filled with a shocking force. This red cauldron is clearly the manifestation of the swallowing flame technique. Swallowing the flames, but temporarily enhances one's strength by swallowing the flames, and the practice route of swallowing the flames is quite peculiar. The final appearance is that after continuous practice, it forms a red cauldron, which motivates the red cauldron to swallow the flames, thereby gaining strength. Huoxin Tianyan. Bring it to me. Xiao Yan said with a smile. Crash. As soon as the voice fell, a burst of khaki flames burst out of Xiao Yan's body, and then without waiting for Xiao Yan to react, he directly burrowed into the red cauldron at his chest. It's really useful, in the late stage of the 3-star fighting immortals. In an instant, as the khaki flame was swallowed by the red cauldron, a trace of pure energy immediately permeated Xiao Yan's limbs and bones, and even Xiao Yan's breath was also soar up. It's not over yet. Ghost Face and Soul Flame. Crimson Flame. With a loud shout, a cyan flame immediately slid into the red cauldron along with the great heavenly seed Fei. Boom! With the addition of the 2 saint flames and the great celestial seed Feiyan, Xiao Yan's aura suddenly soared from the middle stage of the 3-star fighting immortal at the beginning to the current half-step 4-star fighting immortal level. This level of strength can be described as appalling, and the power increased by the swallowing flame technique is even more tyrannical than the Heavenly Fire 3 profound transformations on the Do Chi continent. Gululu. At the same time, with Xiao Yan's sudden increase in strength, a shock surged in the heart of the Ice Demon Swordsman. How could it have thought that Xiao Yan, who was just like a lost dog in his own hands, would become so tyrannical in an instant? Ice Demon Swordsman, let's take you to try the power of the flame-swallowing technique. How tyrannical it is. The next moment, Xiao Yan smiled slowly at the corner of his mouth. A dazzling flame of flame filled the entire space. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1541. Boom! The red cauldron formed by Xiao Yan's swallowing flame technique disappeared in a flash, and Xiao Yan's movements were like flowing water, using the red cauldron to swallow the 3 kinds of flames, and immediately concealed the red cauldron in his body. After all, although the swallowing technique is tyrannical, it has a time limit and can only last for a stick of incense. It's just that the swallowing technique has a dead end, which is this red tripod. If this red cauldron is broken, I am afraid that Xiao Yan's sudden surge of power will dissipate in an instant, and this red cauldron is extremely mysterious. Even with the experience of Xiao Yan and the Master of Soul Eater, they do not know the specific details. I am afraid they can only go to the Swallowing Clan in the future to investigate it clearly. Shabu Shabu. Xiao Yan, who had a half-step 4-star fighting power, slowly stared at the Ice Demon Swordsman. Suddenly, bursts of orange flames burst out of his body, and then completely covered the entire space with ease. Wang buzzing. With the appearance of the orange flame, the extremely hot flame fluctuated in this space, and even the soul was enough to burn. This orange-yellow flame is a flame that temporarily fuses the 3 flames of Fire Heart Tianyan, Ghost Face Soul Flame and Scarlet Flame through the swallowing technique. Inflammation. It's just that now in Xiao Yan's body, the 2 holy flames are fighting each other, and Xiao Yan has no certainty of winning to combine them, so he kept the two holy flames in his body for a while. After all, there are still many doubts about Fenju, of course not. Dare to merge rashly. Otherwise, with Xiao Yan's current strength, combined with the power of flame after the two holy flames, it would be an invincible existence among the same stars. Boom! The Ice Demon Swordsman's heart was slightly solemn, and it was obvious that Xiao Yan's half-step 4-star fighting immortal and the orange flame made him truly feel the wave of death. Want to run? Isn't it quite majestic just now? Xiao Yan saw this, with a smile on the corner of his mouth, and then his body suddenly moved, chasing and killing the Ice Demon Swordsman. Crash! How dare the Ice Demon Swordsman fight against the current Xiao Yan? The orange flame, even if it is far away, actually causes the ice cubes on its body to slowly melt away, so he can only pull his legs out. Just run. Zoo! Seeing Xiao Yan chasing after him, the ice sword in the hands of the Ice Demon Swordsman suddenly surged, and dozens of sword energies emerged in a row, trying to stop Xiao Yan's speed. It's too weak. Xiao Yan shook his head helplessly. At that time, when the icy sword energy had just reached Xiao Yan's body a few meters, orange flames suddenly appeared, and then it was easily melted and evaporated. Tisk tisk tisk. The soaring power of the fusion of the three flames is really terrifying, and the most incredible thing to me is this flame. It seems that I have to start to fuse the holy flame and try the new flame power. Xiao Yan saw that the orange flame was so tyrannical, and immediately thought, after all, this flame is so tyrannical that it only possesses the power of three flames. The flame produced by the fusion of the three sources of flame, the power is probably more powerful than it is now. Zhengxin Lu Mao Chi Chi Novel Wang, WW, The Seal of the Heavenly King. In an instant, Xiao Yan was not ready to keep his hands, his palms slowly clasped together, the flames completely wrapped his body, and he rose up like a god. Wang Om! At this time, the Ice Demon Swordsman also knew that he couldn't run, and immediately stopped his body. The ice attribute grudge filled his body, and then the ice sword above his palm began to move. A special melody fluctuated, suddenly pregnancy. Is it the last blow? Come on then. The Seal of the Heavenly King. Xiao Yan smiled slowly while looking at the Ice Demon Swordsman who displayed the extremely strong sword intent below. The fastest update of Chi-Chi novel. As soon as Xiao Yan's voice fell, 100 Zhang Yingwang formed by orange-yellow suddenly appeared above his hands. In the shadows, there are ancient fluctuations, and even the power of orange flames added by Xiao Yan. This blow. I am afraid that the powerhouse in the middle stage of the 4-star fighting immortal will be seriously injured in an instant. Glacier Sword Intent. Demonstrating the extremely terrifying sword intent, 100 Zhang Ice On suddenly rose from the sky, directly facing Xiao Yan's flame imprint. Boo-hoo! A deafening voice suddenly emanated from this space, and the icy glow persisted for a few breaths before it was slowly eaten away by the orange glow, and finally slowly disappeared. Peefed! With a sound, the flame imprint directly hit the Ice Demon Swordsman, and the ice block on this guy's body suddenly shattered, and immediately the orange flame with the power of 2 holy flames and the crimson flame of the great sky-seated flame shattered. Down, crashed. This is. As the Ice Demon Swordsman completely fell, a pure white light group appeared on the guy's body. The light ball was pure and flawless, only the size of a fist, but the pure energy contained in it shocked Xiao Yan, because the energy in it was probably enough to break through the current level. Why are you standing still? Set up the soul enchantment, quickly absorb it. Otherwise, this power will dissipate in a while. Seeing Xiao Yan, who was sluggish for a while, Soul Eater scolded directly. Okay. Xiao Yan was relieved when he heard the words, and the flame swallowed in the red cauldron dissipated instantly, and the breath returned to the original 3-star fighting immortal middle stage, but there was no weakness or discomfort. Obviously, the swallowing flame technique did not. What aftermath? The only shortcoming is that a battle can only be performed once. Crash! After simply setting up the soul barrier, Xiao Yan didn't care about anything else. The dazzling soul power invaded the white light group, which would easily be swallowed up. At the same time, the fighting core in Xiao Yan's body also gradually increased. And even the power has grown steadily since the middle of the Samsung Douxian. This kind of pure energy is quite rare, and Xiao Yan has gone through a lot of battles after all, so the breakthrough has become a matter of course. After all, there are 4 levels in each star, and it is only when the perfect level breaks through to the next level. It will lead to Do immortal tribulation, otherwise the breakthrough between stars will not lead to thunder tribulation. This Lingshan is really mysterious. It seems that at the top of this spiritual mountain, there should be some kind of behemoth that can make these powers so pure, so they form spiritual beasts. That guy is a good thing. If I get it and devour it, I'm afraid there is a slim chance of stepping into that dream of reincarnation. However, this guy has also fallen now, and there is only an empty shell left, which is really a pity. As Xiao Yan continued to absorb the power of the spirit beast, the eyes of the soul eater suddenly became deep. Through the soul barrier and endless he looked towards the top of Lingshan Mountain, where there seemed to be a soul beast shell, and on the shell, countless mysterious lines permeated, and an ancient wave slowly emerged, but even if it was just a single shell, the aura emanating from it is impressively more powerful than that of a 6-star fighting immortal powerhouse. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1542. With Xiao Yan quietly absorbing the energy of spirit beasts outside, it was only a matter of time before he broke through to the late stage of the 3-star fighting immortal. Therefore, Xiao Gui and the two were also standing in the cave, and this scene was quite strange. What do I do now? The two looked at each other and asked immediately. Apparently, the two of them were about to go to the treasure below, but they were entangled by these sturdy ice, and they were suddenly in trouble. These ices are too strong, and there is no entrance. I'm afraid I can only use my ice attribute to break through the ice and go down to sea. And according to my guess, the guardians here should only have ice demon swordsmen. The two discussed it, and Luo Menglin was the first to speak. She is an ice attribute, so it can naturally reduce a lot of danger. In the frozen lake deep in the cave, although there is no ice demon swordsman to protect, but the only cold that invades the bone marrow is endless, and the ice layer protected by this cold is obviously extremely difficult to destroy. Together, Xiao Gui naturally wouldn't waste this opportunity to perform, and immediately his body slowly stood in front of Luo Menglin and said, "No, the top of your left arm is eroded by that big guy's glacial sword energy, and it will be extremely painful if you are infected with the cold air." Seeing this, Luo Menglin scolded and refused. She herself is an ice attribute, so she can naturally detect Xiao Gui. Visible scars on the arm. Okay. Xiao Gui shook his head helplessly when he heard the words. XUUU. As soon as the voice fell, a white battle chi emerged on Luo Menglin's body, so he completely wrapped his body, and immediately walked cautiously towards the center of the lake. Forget it. Let's go and have a look. Without the slightest hesitation, Xiao Gui quietly followed, but the wound on his arm was tinged with cold air, causing severe pain. Here, it's weird. After a while, Luo Menglin came to the mountain in the center of the lake, her eyes slowly raised, and she wondered. Here, it is clearly the best place to enter the frozen lake, but at this time the entrance seems to be completely suppressed by this mountain. I'll give it a try. Xiao Yan's voice just fell, and a dazzling ghostly aura emerged from his hands. Then, before Luo Menglin could speak, he slammed his hands against the mountain in front of him, and his incomparably sinister energy palms suddenly attacked him away. Boom! Before Luo Menglin could speak, the mountain peak that was attacked by Xiao Gui shook violently, and pieces of ice and rubble kept falling off. Be careful. Seeing this, Luo Menglin hurriedly set up a Do Chi barrier in front of the two to avoid being disturbed by these ice cubes. Wang buzzing. After a few breaths, the mountain peak was razed to the ground by Xiao Gui's attack, and at this time, the cold air above the entire cave became even stronger. That is, entrance. In an instant, Xiao Gui looked at the bottom of the disappearing mountain, and a giant ice crater about several meters slowly emerged. And through this ice pit, or even below, a very special energy light group slowly radiates out, and in this light group, I am afraid that the treasure is located. Go! Luo Menglin glanced around the cave with her eyes, and immediately looked at Xiao Gui directly, and the two jumped into the ice pit one after the other. Crash! As soon as he entered the ice pit, an overwhelming white cold air suddenly emerged, and Xiao Gui was attacked by such a strong cold air, and the wound on his arm also erupted with extreme pain, and he couldn't help but change color. Blue veins burst. I told you not to come, but I won't listen. Seeing this, Luo Menglin couldn't help but feel a little distressed, and the dazzling vindictive aura was directly displayed, isolating the white fog, and then Xiao Gui would feel better. The danger here is unknown. I'm only a big man, but I don't worry about you coming down with a girl. Xiao Gui grinned, rather simple and honest. This guy. Hearing Xiao Gui's words and the honesty in his expression, Luo Menglin smiled lightly. This should be the place leading to the treasure below, be careful. After a while, Xiao Gui didn't know what Luo Menglin was laughing at, and immediately said, "Whoa, what a tyrannical power of ice." After a while, as the figures of the two became lower and lower, the white mist suddenly transformed into a pure white mist, and the oppression of the ice attribute was even more powerful. We can't go down. We may not be able to withstand that kind of pressure when we go down. After a while, Luo Menglin looked at Xiao Gui, who looked uncomfortable, and glanced at Baby Light, who was close at hand, and shook her head. It is strange to say that the breath and light emanating from the treasure below make people feel close at hand, but since the two of them descended from the ice crater, they have already dropped a distance of 700 meters, but they are surrounded by cold ice layers. There is no figure of any baby at all. Cough cough. It's okay, I can still hold on. The thing below must be a treasure. I can feel its tyrannical aura. I can't give up. Xiao Gui gritted his teeth forcibly to endure the inhuman torture, and said immediately. This time, it was finally his turn to perform, and he said that he was going to take this thing out and give it to Luo Menglin. Let's go. After a short while, Luo Menglin's figure moved and flew out with Xiao Gui directly. You can't just leave like this. Seeing this, Xiao Gui was in a hurry and broke free from Luo Menglin's shackles. He was covered in ghostly energy, and quickly moved towards the ice layer below. In the ice layer below, it was the existence of the treasure. Land. Big man, you! Luo Menglin was shocked when she saw this, but Xiao Gui's speed was too fast. Although he was angry, he followed. 800 meters. Xiao Gui was lingering with ghostly energy still facing down, but at a depth of 800 meters, it could make Xiao Gui faint, even the coldness. The chill of ice, through the isolation of his own ghost, began to invade his body. If it continued like this for a long time, it would leave extremely serious hidden dangers. A little closer. 900 meters. Xiao Gui shot down to the bottom of his mind, looking at his appearance. It was astonishing that his heart would not die until the Yellow River. Big man, stop now, you'll die if you go down. Luo Menglin also followed Xiao Gui down, but when she descended to the 800-meter position, even she was under great pressure to cultivate the ice attribute, not to mention Xiao Gui's how big the pressure will be. 1,000 meters. In an instant, Xiao Gui held his last breath and rushed to the bottom. In an instant, it was as if he had punctured something. Therefore, Xiao Gui's figure left the ice pit and entered the pure white in the light group. Big man, you! Luo Menglin endured the tyrannical pressure and entered the light group like a ghost. That is, Zan Binglentai? As the two entered the pure white light group, Luo Menglin just wanted to look for Xiao Gui's figure. If his attention was attracted by the scenery in front of him, his eyes shrank tightly, his face staring at the baby not far from the two without changing his color, he lost his voice. Continuing from the previous episode 1543. Xuanbinliantai? Xiao Gui heard the words and immediately focused his attention on the scenery in front of him. What appeared in front of the two was a rather special space, and after the lake was frozen, this treasure set up a space to protect itself. The space was quite small, and there was only a white jade-colored lotus pedestal in front of the two of them. I didn't expect it to be the Xuanbing Lotus Terrace. After a while, Luo Menglin couldn't help but smiled sweetly. Obviously, about the records of the treasures in Lingshan, even the headmaster in their Lingyuan was not clear. Are you all right? After a short while, Luo Menglin regained her attention, then looked at Xiao Gui who was beside him, and asked with concern, although the treasure is attractive, but this time if it wasn't for Xiao Gui to take the lead, I'm afraid that she might have nothing to do with it. Got it back. I'm fine, since entering here, the power of ice has suddenly weakened, and my wounds have gotten better. Xiao Gui smiled. By the way, the Xuanbing Lotus platform you are talking about seems to be the Lotus platform in front of you. The next moment, Xiao Gui asked in doubt, apparently relying on Xiao Gui's perception. The Lotus platform in front of him seemed to have nothing but shocking coldness. The strange thing is that there seems to be a white halo emerging from the Lotus platform. You'll be fine. As for the mysterious ice Lotus Terrace in front of me, this is a rare treasure. Zonbing Lotus Terrace, which grows in extremely cold places, is a treasure that cannot be seen for thousands of years. It has been formed for 100 years, and after thousands of years of tempering with the power of extreme cold, it has slowly become a real treasure. The pure power it contains will increase a lot. And this treasure is hard to find for those who cultivate the ice attribute, so it is hard to find a lot of money. It is used for cultivation. The continuous power of extreme cold emerges in the Lotus platform, which has a multiplier effect for us, so it can speed up our cultivation. Luo Menglin's heart became hot. Dai Mu looked at the Lotus platform in front of her, and smiled. Obviously she knew the details of this treasure. Well, I'll leave this thing to you. Xiao Gui nodded lightly when he heard the words. Obviously he didn't care about this thing. Hey, you really don't know how precious this thing is? Luo Menglin couldn't help but exclaimed when she saw Xiao Gui said so casually, and then sat down with her legs crossed to adjust her breath. This is the mysterious Ice Lotus Terrace. Ice-type powerhouses use it to cultivate with less effort, but if other powerhouses obtain it, even if they auction it off, they may be able to possess terrifying wealth that can be rich to rival countries, because the Lotus Terrace is the most precious, and not the lotus stand itself. Where the Xuanbing Lotus Terrace is located, there must be lotus seeds. And the truly precious place of Xuanbing Lotus Terrace is Xuanbing Lotus seeds. The Zonbing Lotus Terrace has experienced the erosion of the extreme cold air, condensing the Lotus platform for 100 years, and then continuously absorbing the power of the extreme cold every 1,000 years, using the energy absorbed by itself to temper itself, and the remaining power after tempering is stored in the Lotus platform. Above, over time, it condensed into the so-called Xuanbing Lotus seeds. The value of the Xuanbing Lotus Terrace is at best only the average of the second-grade Emperor rank medicinal pills, but the value of one of the Xuanbing Lianzi is comparable to the 4th-grade Immortal rank medicinal pills. For nothing else, it is because of the terrifying energy of the Zonbing Lotus seed. That kind of power is comparable to the energy of some human 4-star fighting immortals. The difference between the two is huge. This thing is useful to you. I'm sure I can't take what I like. You hurry up and put it away. Xiao Gui naturally didn't know that Zonbing Lotus seeds were hidden in the Zonbing Lotus Terrace, but even if he did, Xiao Gui would not be able to. We'll do it. After all, this woman makes Xiao Gui quite happy. He's really a big fool. Seeing this, Luo Menglin looked helpless, and then walked slowly to Xiao Gui's side. A dazzling ice-type fighting chi emerged, and gently suppressed the cold chi on Xiao Gui's injured arm. I've temporarily suppressed the cold air for you. When I take this treasure and leave Lingshan, I will heal you. Luo Menglin smiled. Well, you go quickly. Xiao Gui said. Zhu. After doing all this, Luo Menglin cautiously walked towards the center. Her eyes lightly scanned the entire space, and finally stopped on the white jade-colored lotus pedestal with the only view. The white jade-colored lotus platform has a circular shape as a whole. Around the lotus platform, circles of pure white halos emerged, lingering the entire lotus platform. On the lotus pedestal, some holes about the size of a finger exude a whitish halo, making the entire lotus pedestal extremely mysterious. And around the lotus platform, a dazzling power of extreme cold emerged. As Luo Menglin approached, there was a burst of tremors in her body. Obviously, this power of extreme cold was not too stressful for her, who was also cultivating ice-type fighting chi. Little Zonbing Lotus Terrace. Gritting his teeth, he resisted the extremely terrifying cold air step by step, and then slowly came to the Lotus Terrace, unable to help but speak slowly. The whole Lotus platform is pure white, but the Lotus platform is suspended in the void, but under the Lotus platform, a rhizome about the size of an arm is reflected in Luo Menglin's line of sight. This mysterious ice lotus platform really lives up to its reputation. Looking at the countless dense tentacles emerging on the rhizomes below the lotus platform, there is a near-crazy greed on these tentacles, which continuously absorbs the extreme cold in the entire lake. Power. Forget it. Let's do it. After hesitating for a while, Luo Menglin was not ready to hesitate anymore. After all, the treasure was in front of him, and the coldness on Xiao Gui's body was extremely uncomfortable. Crash! In an instant, dazzling white fighting chi suddenly emerged from Luo Menglin's body, and then lingered on her palm. At that time, countless white fighting chi formed a pair of crystal clear cold on her palm. Ice gloves. Be careful, those extreme cold powers are extremely terrifying. Seeing Luo Menglin preparing to start, Xiao Gui couldn't help but say. N. Luo Menglin nodded lightly, then raised her palm and gently walked towards the hole in the lotus platform. She knew that the most precious of the Zonbing lotus seeds was the Zonbing lotus seeds, and the Zonbing lotus seeds were in the lotus terrace. Through these holes, you could directly contact the Zonbing lotus seeds. Wang buzzing, the palm just touched the whole body of the lotus platform, and suddenly a pure asterisk of extreme cold emerged uncontrollably from the tentacles below the lotus platform, madly shooting at Luo Menglin, as if he noticed the lotus platform is eroded, and the main body is automatically protected. Humph! Seeing this, Luo Menglin couldn't help but snorted coldly. At that time, the white gloves on the palm of the ice suddenly burst out with an extremely tyrannical force, slowly defeating the extreme cold force above the tentacles, but there were also many beads of sweat on his forehead. Obviously, the attack just now seemed simple, but it took Luo Menglin's rather majestic fighting spirit. Ice Elemental Celestial Seed? Xiao Gui on the side, when Luo Menglin defeated the extreme cold power above his tentacles, clearly smelled a wave that made his heart palpitate, but that wave emerged from Luo Menglin's body. Flashed away. Continuing from the previous episode 1544. Boom! As Luo Menglin's terrifying aura erupted, it instantly defeated the power of extreme cold from the Xuanbing Lotus Terrace. Immediately, the countless chills in the Lotus platform receded one after another, making Luo Menglin feel as if he was no one. Break through the Lotus hole. With a sound, Luo Menglin raised her palm, and then gently moved towards the hole. At that time, a crack slowly emerged from the hole of the Lotus platform. Immediately, the Lotus core of the Lotus platform was also continuously enlarged through the hole, and finally slowly appeared in front of the two. Boom! As Luo Menglin gently opened a hole in the Lotus platform, in an instant, in the entire space, the dazzling power of extreme cold burst out in an endless stream, turning into white mist. It really is the Zonbing lotus seed. Luo Menglin couldn't help shouting softly, looking at the white spot of light lying quietly in the heart of the lotus. The white-black ice lotus seed is only the size of a finger, but the energy contained in such a small lotus seed is huge and surprising. That kind of power, just one piece is enough for them to have the shackles of 3-star perfection. Opportunity. In the center of Bai Wulentai, a few white light spots appeared slowly, and with the appearance of these light spots, a force of extreme terror and extreme cold suddenly emerged in this space, but when approaching Luo Menglin, slowly generally absorbed by it. 1, 2, 5? Luo Menglin murmured softly, and then her eyes shrank tightly, a look of shock. This mysterious ice lotus platform has actually condensed 5 mysterious ice lotus seeds. You must know that the value of Xuanbing lotus seeds, even one, is worth a fortune. At this moment, there were 5, which shocked Luo Menglin. Are you all right? Xiao Gui also walked up at this time and asked. I'm fine. Look at the center of the lotus pedestal. The spot of light shining with white light is the Xuanbing lotus seed. There are 5 of them. Big man, this time, thank you so much. Luo Mengsheng lost his voice, looking at the 5 lotus seeds standing quietly above the lotus heart in front of him. It's not too late. I must retreat and swallow the Xuanbing lotus seeds to see if I can break through the 4-star fighting immortal. After a while, Luo Menglin's eyes flashed with a hint of determination. Obviously, in order to avoid the forced marriage by some elders, Luo Menglin ran directly to Lingshan, firstly to escape, and secondly to strengthen her time. I heard that guy is a 4-star fighting immortal powerhouse, and he even touched the existence of the realm with half of his foot. So Luo Menglin wanted to escape from this predicament, only to strengthen his own strength. Retreat. I will protect the law for you. I'll stay here until you finish. Xiao Gui nodded slowly when he heard the words, although he didn't know why Luo Menglin frowned. He didn't ask any further. Thank you, big man. I have taken all the benefits of this treasure hunt away from me. I'll give back to you when I leave the customs. As soon as the words fell, a dazzling power of ice emerged from Luo Menglin's body, and then she directly wrapped herself and the lotus platform, which was obviously a small space for her own cultivation. So the space where the ghost Xiao was now at peace, leaving only the ghost Xiao. Hey, I don't know what the status of this guy is in the spiritual courtyard. Looking at this dress, it seems that his status is not low, If I speak like this, I am afraid that the possibility of rejection is very high. No, no. Looking at the white light in front of him, Xiao Gui slowly walked back and forth to protect the road. It's over? The next moment, a hearty laughter slowly emerged, and a man with a heavy ruler on his back slowly wriggled out of the void. He, eldest brother, that ice demon swordsman. Hearing this voice, Xiao Gui smiled sincerely. It was absorbed by me. Xiao Yan said softly, Big brother, your strength is really increasing fast. In a flash, Xiao Gui realized that his elder brother's strength was only in the late stage of Star Douxian, but he was still in the dark. There is an extremely terrifying aura that slowly exudes. Okay, don't talk about me, talk about you. This girl's strength is not bad, the strength of the 3-star fighting fairy is complete, and she also has an ice-type great celestial seed on her body. It seems that her status in the spiritual academy is definitely not low. So, do you have confidence? After a while, Xiao Yan the corner of his mouth smiled, and then he stared at Xiao Gui. Big brother, but Xiao Gui seemed to understand what his elder brother said, and immediately hesitated. His parents' background was unknown, and he actually thought about the love of his children, and a trace of shame poured into his heart. I will investigate the matter of your parents for you, so there is some fate. Since you have met, you should take good care of it. After Xiao Yan finished speaking, he put a hand on Xiao Gui's heart and said earnestly. Yeah. Xiao Gui nodded seriously, although the power of the blood of the same clan on both of them was the premise, but Xiao Yan helped and encouraged him so much, which made Xiao Gui extremely grateful. Wait and see. After a while, Xiao Yan's eyes turned towards the light in front of him. Obviously, he also wanted to see if Luo Menglin could break through the 4-star Douxian with the help of Xuanbing Lotus seeds. Brother, my wound. The two of them were quiet for a while, and then Xiao Gui spoke up. Obviously, cold air was constantly emerging from his wound, making Xiao Gui quite unbearable for the pain. After all, he was just in front of Luo Menglin. Naturally, you can only endure it. Okay, I can take care of this wound for you. It's just a grievance and a debt. Whoever hurt you, you should go to someone. Xiao Yan joked, but in his mouth it was a flash of a smile. Obviously, this kind of wound is the best topic for Xiao Gui to approach Luo Menglin. But this wound was caused by the ice demon swordsman. It has been absorbed by you. Xiao Gui said dumbly for a while. You brat, wait for this girl to go out, let you find him. Xiao Yan couldn't help but exasperatedly said, this Xiao Gui is too stiff. Oh, thank you big brother. Xiao Gui was puzzled for a while, but after a while, he slowly laughed, clearly understanding Xiao Yan's good intentions. Wait, before, I found out the strength of this girl, and it has vaguely reached the peak of the 3-star Douxian consummation. Now with the help of 5 mysterious ice lotus seeds, I am afraid that in a few days, she will be out of the customs. Xiao Yan said. As soon as the voice fell, the two of them waited slowly. For practitioners, a few days are fleeting in the process of cultivation. However, at this time, Luo Menglin, who was in the small space who was cultivating a breakthrough in retreat, burst out with a dazzling impact, and then the light that enveloped her started to shake slowly, even outside the entire space. The ice layer of the lake broke out with a chill that was piercing to the bone. And this appearance is clearly not a sign of a successful breakthrough, but a sign of a failed breakthrough.